wow. Oh, feel the burn, baby.
Hey, Mitten, what are you doing?
Lisa said we're going to work on our cores today. We got to strengthen our cores.
Okay, well, I was just sitting over in the corner here reading about that.
Well, reading books is a great place to start, but at some point you have to actually, do it. You got to put it into motion, what you just read about. You got to practice.
Okay, well, I'm going to go over and start practicing then right now.
Alrighty, bye. Bye, Blister. Okay, well, you know what? Doing push-ups would be a hell of a lot easier if I had arms. Okay, thank you, Mitten. Thank you, Blister. Yes, this is Lisa Young Sutton. And let me move my menorah. Why is my menorah here? Because it's Hanukkah, my friends. Happy Hanukkah to everyone out there who celebrates it. Okay, now, this video is the first in a short series on strengthening your core, okay? Your practice, your Petit Lenormand practice is only as strong as the foundation you lay. So you've got to get a handle on your core meanings and your core techniques, okay? Now, when I say core meanings, yes, I am referring to primary vibes. All right, now today for the demo, I will be using Ciro Marchetti's Gilded Reverie. Yes, that is the deck that you see on the cover of my book and throughout my book. It is one of the decks in there. Okay, now, when you are determining your primary vibes, first of all, I tell everyone, make your own deck right from the start. When I first started learning, I had already purchased a few decks. But Bjorn was insistent that I make my own. He wanted me to get a deck of playing cards and make my own. Yes, I have a video on that. And it really does help because, just the act of making it, of creating your own, but then you're writing your own primary vibes on there. And primary vibes do not have to be a single word. They can be a few words, they can be a sentence or a phrase or a couple phrases, but it's something that has to get you to that core essence, that basic function of each card, the thing that never changes. So how do you do that? Well, for each card in my book, you'll see under each card listing, you'll see primary vibe there. Now, I do not have a single word primary vibe listed there. I have some information that was intended to assist you in developing your own, creating your own primary vibe. That was my thinking when I did that. So how do you do it? You read that, you read the card's influence, and then look at the base keywords, right? And from that information, you should have no problem developing your own primary vibes, okay? It's all about establishing a personal relationship with your cards, okay? Your primary vibes have to resonate with you. They have to make sense to you, right? Okay, so the next thing that you're going to do once you establish your primary vibes is practice, okay? As Mitten was saying, as Mitten was telling Blister, you can't just read about it. You have to do it. All right, so you need a lot of questions. All right, and I have a great section. As you can see, it's all about the question. I have a great section in my book on questions. And go in here and get to the section. There's a lot of stuff in here. The question sampler. We have what questions, how questions, why questions, all right? There's a good one. I was just looking at this the other day. Here. So many people, there's a lot of dating questions, right, in the practice groups. People are always saying, oh, why isn't he calling, or why isn't she calling, that kind of thing. Well, how about asking why someone is upset, or why did someone leave, or why is someone not calling? Why haven't they called? Yeah, you know what? They usually ask if they're going to call. That's not why aren't they calling. They usually ask, it's a yes, no, right? They usually say, is so-and-so going to call me? Yeah. And I think it's so much better to ask, why are they not calling? Why did they leave in the first place? Why, how are they feeling? There's so many better questions to ask. And There, you could turn that single yes/no question into 10 good practice questions, because practice makes perfect. All right, I also love the section on question ideas by theme, because we have career questions, finance, family, love, health, rephrasing common questions. There's all kinds of good question information in here. And yes, you need to ask tons of questions and practice. Just asking every day what's going to happen today is not the best way of doing it, because those cards could mean almost anything, and especially if you post them in these groups then, and you are pretty sure that, you know, the answer was green, but then some people say no, it's purple, then somebody says no, it's red, it's blue, it's yellow, and you know, you thought it was green, and now you have no idea what's going on. So yeah, just, you know, create your primary vibes and create a personal relationship with your cards, and you will be off and running. All right, so what are primary vibes? Well, those core meanings that I am talking about, those primary vibes, are constant. They never change, okay? They are the core functions of these cards. And while the surrounding cards in a spread will influence the meanings of these cards, the primary vibe, the core function, will never change, okay? That will make more sense as we go along. Okay, I'm just going to read what I have here, and we're going to run through these cards. Okay, Rider, number 1, Rider. I'll start by giving you my core meaning. Arrival. It's the card of something arriving. Hang on. It's something or someone arriving. It could be mail, it could be people, it could be ideas, feedback, but it's an action card. It's action that's about to take place, okay? Clover, the core is chance. You just found a little luck. Throw caution to the wind. Have fun. Okay, I'll just throw in some of the descriptive terms too. You know, like the rider is typically something you ride. So it's horses, it's bikes, it's motorcycles, it's anything you ride. Okay. The clover is the herbal card. So yes, it's the weed card. Okay, ship, journey. A journey to seek or acquire betterment. It's a slow card, distant card, foreign card, and it's the card for vehicles. All right. House, personal. Your private life, your sanctuary, your foundation, your residence. All right. It's the card for your house, your home office, your home page of your website, and that kind of thing. Tree is well-being, holistic care, and patience are required. Time is required to bring something to a better place, right? To enable something to take root or to flourish or to grow, okay? But it doesn't refer to growth. It's telling you that something is needed for growth. Okay, and holistic care. What does holistic mean? It means consider all needs. Consider the total, package here. Physical needs, mental, spiritual, all of that. Right? It's the card of nature. Clouds is turbulence. It refers to things that are unclear, unstable, uncertain, all the uns, unpredictable, and it's the card of weather. Snake is treacherous, twisted, coiled, a roundabout way, untrustworthy, unpredictable, it's slinky, it's sneaky, and ooh, okay. Coffin is end. It's halting, heavy, dark, low, loss, right? And it can refer to enclosed spaces, boxes and closets, and yes, coffins. Okay, the number 9, the bouquet, is the card of gratification. It's pleasant surprises that make everything seem better, right? So it's invitations, it's rewards or awards, and it refers to beauty and aesthetics, and all those things that make everything a little nicer. It's So it's appreciating the simple things in life. And yes, it refers to flowers. The Scythe. The Scythe is risk. It's a warning card. Don't be so quick to act. It's a card of sorting and dissecting and separating to, it's like cutting at the bad spot out of the apple, that kind of thing. And it stands for dangerous tools. Sharp tools are dangerous tools. The Whip is discord. It's a card of struggle, effort, drama, irritation. It's a back and forth, repetitive, kind of exhausting. It's arguments. It's all that drama and discord. Birds is a flutter, mental agitation, startling things, being distracted, passing troubles, verbal chatter, noise. And of course, it stands for birds. Child is innocence. It's something new, small, just starting out. It's playful and trusting. It's the card of wonder and ease and all of that childlike stuff, that wonderful childlike stuff. Okay, now here's a good example of what I was talking about before. That is the core function of this card. That is the primary vibe that never changes, right? So, yes, it stands for childlike traits. It's a positive card. But what if it were surrounded in a tableau by negative cards? Well, then you could be looking at the more negative aspects of childlike behavior, such as being naive or immaturity. Okay, so that's what I meant when I said surrounding cards will influence this, but the core will never change. The Fox is wrong. It's sneaky and sly and things that are masked and disguised. It's struggling to survive, right? That's why a lot of people choose it for their work card, because it's usually young people who are just struggling to survive. And it's the card of instincts, because when you are struggling to survive, that's when your instincts are called into play. That's different than using your intuition. Right? Instincts are very primordial, and that's what the fox is all about, just trying to survive, watching your back. And that's why he's not above lying and cheating and throwing you under the bus. Okay. The Bear. The Bear is strength. It's protecting what you have, which infers that you have something. So yes, it is the traditional card of prosperity and also envy, because if you have something, you attract people who are envious. Now think about this, and this is explained in my book. The bear is the card for the haves. The fox is the card for the have-nots. The bear is always looking over his shoulder to see where the fox is, because the fox wants what the bear has. Did I say that right? Yeah, I did. And the bear is also the card of power and control, and it refers to large things, hairy things, and it's the card for weight. Oh, the fox is my card for wildlife in general. A lot of people use this for cats, but I tend to use the dog card for domestic pets. It's up to you. I've already used this for cats. Okay. The Stars. The Stars is the card of guidance. It's your path. It says your path is becoming clear, that success is on the horizon. That's why it's your GPS card. That's why it means guidance, because when it shows up, it's saying, keep doing what you're doing. Go this way. You're on the right path. It's not the same success as the sun. The sun would say, that's it. You did it. You are successful. This is saying you're on your way to becoming successful, that you're on the right path. Keep going, right? It's also the card for spirituality and the internet. The Stork. The Stork is evolve. It's the card of changes. Basically, if you choose change for your primary vibe, that's perfect, okay? It's a card of changes, additions, transitions, the birth of something new. So this is not just the card of physical birth and pregnancy. It's the card of additions to the household, which could be somebody moving in. It could be refurbishing your house. It's changes. It's moving house. All of that. Okay. If you see it with the ship, and in certain questions, it refers to airplanes, air travel. Oh, the dog. The dog is loyalty. It refers to faithful friends, remaining steadfast, dependability, right? Trustworthiness. And it's the card for pets. All right, so if it shows up in certain contexts, it will tell you it's kind of the opposite of the stork, because the stork is telling you to change, whereas the dog is telling you to remain loyal to what you're doing. Sit, stay, go. All right. All right, the Tower. The Tower is, my primary vibe is authority. Many people use longevity. Perfect, right? Because it is the card of longevity. It's a long-standing, unchanging, and organized card. It's a card that shows many levels. It's an official card. It's the card of institutions. It refers to rules. And now think about that in relationship questions, right? So yes, this music is getting loud here. Calm down over there. So yes, okay, in a relationship, it's the card of longevity, and yet it can also refer to isolation when you lock yourself in your tower because you're working on getting from the mailroom up to get the key to the executive washroom, right? It's the card of ambition because of all the levels to get to the top. It's a card of many meanings, but they all relate to that same core. And in a relationship, don't confuse it with a relationship ending, that isolation term, because it's the card of longevity. What it does refer to is an uneven relationship, like somebody is typically at the top and somebody else is at the bottom. It can refer to a cold relationship, too many rules, or just an official relationship, like it's a marriage of convenience, or somebody is with someone because they think it can help their career. It's that kind of thing. There's nothing warm and fuzzy about it, okay, even though it's long term. Okay. Garden, it's the social card. It refers to the public, outside. House is inside, garden is outside. It's your environment and your community and society and everybody in it, right? So it can refer to gatherings of people or just other people in your life, or creating alliances with people, right? It's also the card of exposure, whereas the house is keeping things private. The garden is about exposing things. All right, the Mountain is the card of obstacles. It's enemies, which are either literal or metaphorical, okay? It's the card of resistance and challenges, and it can also refer to borders and, what's that other word I'm looking for? Well, okay, and it can refer to rocks and gemstones and that kind of thing, like in a descriptive reading, right? Ways, paths, crossroads, roads, the card of many names. It refers to choices. It's being at a crossroads. Which way do you go? You have alternatives, right? It's showing that there's more than one of something. It's a card of divergence or branching out, right? Now you have variety. You have other ways you can go. And it can also refer to roads or paths or sidewalks. The Mice, erosion. I like erosion better than loss. I mean, because the Coffin is also a card of loss, right? It's like total loss, done, end, dead, right? This is a slow erosion of something. It's something being taken away, and they always leave a mess behind. Think of filth and disease with this card. It's gnawing worries, those constant worries, whereas the birds are like everyday stresses that, it's all that mental chatter and you're trying to get everything done and you're a crazy, hectic, chaotic, exciting day, right? But then the mice refers to those gnawing, underlying worries that are just, they're eating away at you. Ugh. That's the mice, okay? It's the card of thievery and the card of rodents. And if you have pet hamsters or gerbils, you would use that card too. I used to have hammies. I loved my hammies. The Heart. The Heart is the card of passion. It's the card of emotions and that which touches your heart. It's the card, of course, of love, but it's more than love. It's sympathy. It's compassion. It's anything that tugs at your heartstrings, right? makes your heart skip a beat, warms your heart. Think of all those phrases. All right. The ring. The ring is connection. It's the card of commitments, contracts, unions, things that bond two things. Continuous movement. Okay. The whip was that, repetitive over and over, back and forth kind of thing. This is a nice, smooth, continuous motion. It's the card of cycles, right? It's also the card of your valuables and jewelry. The book, number 26, the book is knowledge. Okay, a lot of people just use the word secret. And it is the card of secrets, definitely. But it's also the card of learning. It's the card of going to school. It's the card of research, of finding out what information you're missing, right? That's why I choose knowledge. All right, because it tells you that you don't know something, which is why you have to go to school, right? Isn't that why we all study? It's any kind of a compilation of information too, such as books, magazines, files, right? Large files, databases, that kind of thing. Okay. The letter is the communication card. It's a card. My core meaning is words, because it's anything that contains words, right? News, correspondence. So, think of it this way. When this card shows up, you really want to look at those cards around it too, because, all right, it could be that you wrote a letter, but did you mail it? Is the rider nearby? Or is the coffin following it? Like, did you intend to communicate these words and then decide to just throw this in a box and bury it? You know what I mean? So, but it is the card of communication. If birds is with it, then it's like nervous chatter about these words. If whip is with it, then it's arguing over these words. You know what I'm saying? But these are the words. It's also the card of paper. Anything on paper. All right, 28 and 29. Okay, they are the only two people cards in the deck. So let's not get stuck on gender issues, because the traditional decks only have a man and a woman. Most modern decks, even this deck, actually has 2 men and 2 women, so that you can, if you're in a same-sex relationship, you could use 2 men or 2 women. But the traditional decks don't have that. So if you were using one of those decks and you and say you were the man, well, then this would have to be your partner, even if this was a man. But you can set your intention to use this card as a man anyway, if you're asking a question about yourself and someone else, and that other person happens to also, and you're a man and that person is a man, and you only have a deck with 2 cards, well, you set your intention for this to represent that other man. Simple as that. Okay, it's not going to just appear to be some unknown woman who has nothing to do with the question you're asking. These are the people cards. Assign this to be the other person. Forget gender. A lot of these new decks are coming out with like person 1 and person 2, to get rid of the whole gender thing. But yeah, and sometimes in tableaus, one of these cards will show up and it'll have some court inset cards around it, like the man card might show up for a reading for a woman, right? So this is her. Oh, by the way, like if you are a man, every time this card shows up in your readings, it's you. If you're a woman and this card shows up, this is you. Okay. So that's what I mean. The other person card has to be another person that you're asking about. Okay, yeah, court insets. Sometimes, like if I were reading for a man, say, right, and this card shows up, but it's actually trying to tell me that this is a man, I'll have court insets around this card, the jack or the king, and it'll be saying, no, this is a guy, that kind of thing. Don't worry about that. I know that's kind of an advanced topic right there. Forget that. Just know that if you're a woman and you're performing a reading, this is you. Okay? This doesn't always have to be a man, because if you only have these 2 and you are married or in a relationship, this is your partner. Let's leave it at that. Okay. The lily. Harmony. This is the card of harmony. It's a card of satisfaction, of maturity and wisdom. Think of all the things the good things that come with age, right? Peace and harmony and wisdom and maturity. It's the card of virtue and bliss. It's the traditional card of family, all right? Because actually it referred to family harmony, which when this deck was created, all right, the end of the 1700s, early 1800s, family was extremely important, right? Your family was everything. If your family was not harmonious and getting along and prospering, neither did you, okay? So it was very important, family. So yes, you can use it for family. You can use it for ancestors too. I know a lot of people use the tree for that. There again, personal preference. Okay. Sun, empowered. That's my primary vibe, is empowered. It's the card of bright, warm, confident, awareness, shining, success. It's the big success card, right? It's the card of energy, any kind of energy source. Well, I mean, the sun is the primary energy source, right? Well, so is your furnace, so is a fire, right? So think of anything that creates warmth and light. You know, light bulbs, you know, think of all of that, that stuff. But it's the big success card. Now, I already mentioned it when I talked about the stars. All right, the moon, my primary vibe is spotlight, because it's putting a spotlight. I mean, look, he's got a magnifying glass here on this picture. It's you're focused on something, or everybody is focused on you, right? They're looking closely at you. You're getting attention, right? It's the card of reflection. The moon reflects light. It's not a luminary. It does not create its own light. It only reflects the light of the sun, okay, or even the stars. So it's about the impression you're making, or it depends on your question. It could be the impression someone's making on you. It's also the card for nighttime. And we have number 33. The key is solution. It's the card of certainty, of being unrestricted, of liberation. All right, so it can be closing doors or opening doors. It depends on which you need to do to be unrestricted or liberated, right? It's also the card of helpful tools. Remember, the scythe was dangerous tools. Well, this is the card of helpful tools. And this is a success card as well, like the sun, but think of it this way. The sun, you have no control over the sun. It's going to shine or it's not going to shine. You can't control that. If you have the key to something, you have control over the key, but it doesn't work if you don't use it. So this requires work on your part, all right, when the key comes up. In other words, it's saying success is yours if you use that key. Oh, this is a good one. Fish. You thought I was going to say money? No, I'm not. It's the card of abundance. Yes, it is the money card, but money is a key word for this card. It is not the primary vibe. It is not the core function. And I just saw this again recently where someone asked about a new relationship, like what is the guy going to bring to her life or something. I can't remember what the question was, but somebody said he's going to have a lot of money just because the fish card was there. No. Well, I mean, he could have a lot of money. Wouldn't that be great? But that's not what it's about. This is the card of abundance. It's the card of being enriched, of things that are profitable, things that add value. Now, you can hear that all those words relate in our minds to money, don't they, right? It's the card of exchange. It's also the card of entrepreneurs, of being independent and swimming your own way, right? And it's also the card of fish and water. Okay, anchor. The anchor is, my primary vibe is goal. It's the card of goals, right? Where do you want to drop your anchor? When you drop your anchor in the right place, that means you've reached your goal. It's the card of hope in the original game of hope. This was the winning space you wanted to get to. It is the card of hope, hoping to reach your goal, hoping to reach safety. Okay, it's being grounded. It's the card of security and all of that stuff. It's also the card of perseverance, right? Like you're going to keep going until you get to the place where you want to drop that anchor. And it refers to the sea, to the ocean. And last but not least, we have the cross. The cross, my primary vibe is burden. It's the card of pain and suffering and sacrifice and heavy convictions, you know, dogma, and things that have to be endured. And that's why it's the card of religion, because doesn't religion entail all of that stuff, right? Oh, so that is it for today. The next video will be on your basic core techniques to get started. Once you got your primary vibes down, then you're looking at your core techniques. And again, everybody, happy Hanukkah. So drink your gin and tonica and smoke your marijuana. Happy, happy Hanukkah. That's my tribute to Adam Sandler. Thank you, everybody. Now go play with your cards. Bye, everybody.